ChatGPT's writing, but no one's buying soon. Dashboard full of metrics that don't mean a thing.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you're joining us from. I want to thank you for joining our weekly live event. If you liked the music that started that was our weekly wisdom music. It was an 80s power ballad. So those of you that enjoy hair bands will enjoy that. I did enjoy hair bands at one time, but I don't think I'm qualified anymore to do that. So let's dive right in today. Our topic is seriously don't hire a marketing team before you have an AI amplified go to market strategy, which is kind of a mouthful. But the real question is why are you planning to hire 8 people when 3 plus AI could do better? And so we'll dive in and cover that topic today. Wanted to mention before we got started here a couple of things. Number one is if you enjoy this content and want to hear more of it, would invite you to hop on over to our YouTube page. It's at Dan Griffith SR. So again, at Dan Griffith SR, where you can find out all kinds of things about me, more about what we do at our companies, and get tidbits of information that will help you in your journey. A couple of other resources that are important for you to know about is our LinkedIn newsletter. So we send that out weekly. If you like to get your content in print form, we would call it snackable bites for the founder. Normally a 2 to 3 minute read. You can, I guess, sign up for that or subscribe. Sorry, I was looking for that word. You can subscribe to our LinkedIn newsletter on LinkedIn, going to my profile, which is also Dan Griffith, S as in Sam R. So Dan Griffith SR on LinkedIn. And then we also publish an article, which is typically on the topic that we cover, but in more of a written form. So hopefully you'll join us on those resources, which are for you. We want to help founders grow. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Dan Griffith. I am I've been helping founders of SaaS and technology service firms for over 15 years accelerate their revenue growth. A couple of key roles. I am the founder and principal consultant at Greater Gain Group, which focuses on strategy for founders and revenue leaders that are building their sales and marketing engines. I'm also the co-founder and revenue strategist at Grow Digital, which is a marketing company that helps serve the same. And then certainly I'm available for speaking, podcasting. I'm also an author of a number of different blogs, and available to speak to your group. If you'd like to have me, please reach out to us at Jana at growwithdan.com. That's JANA, and Jana will get you set up to do that. So let's dive into today's topic. So we always like to start with what is the problem? What are we trying to solve here? So I'll probably start with more of a story, which I like to do. Um, Actually had calls with 3 different founders this week. All were actually planning the exact same thing. So they had fresh Series A funding, board pressure to scale fast. Their solution was to hire big. And by the way, if you've been down that path or are heading down that path, it's not something that you came up with yourself. A lot of people say, let's throw money at the situation and see if we can fix it. First founder said to me, hey, Dan, we need to hire a marketing manager, 2 SDRs, an inside sales rep, content creator, and maybe even a marketing ops person. My budget is 500,000 to 1 million in salaries for that first year burn. Second founder, very similar plan, 6 to 8 people, 6 month timeline to productivity. And again, the third founder, same conversation, but a different company. So here's what I told all 3 of them and why it could save each of them $500,000. First, I want to start with the stat. According to SaaS Capital's latest benchmarks, the median SaaS company spends 40% to 50% of revenue on sales and marketing. But here's the kicker. Companies in the top quartile for capital efficiency spend 25 to 30% and actually grow faster. So the difference really isn't headcount, it's strategy. So most founders think that scaling really does mean hiring, but more people equals more capacity equals more growth. It's kind of the formula that a lot of them use. However, what actually happens, you spend 6 months recruiting, onboarding, and waiting for productivity while burning runway on salaries for people who are actually just experimenting with your budget. Seriously, don't do that. So let's talk about the $500,000 hiring mistake. So the traditional scaling trap. Again, want to dig into this a little bit more. Hopefully you aren't living this now. Hopefully I'm catching you before that. But if you have lived this, I'm sorry. And maybe we can reset. So here's what the traditional approach actually costs. So first, marketing manager, about 120,000 plus benefits, which is about 150. Okay. Two SDRs, 60K each plus benefits. Again, another 150. So we're at 300. Inside sales rep, 80K plus benefits. That's another 100K. So now we're at 400. Content creator, 70K plus benefits. So that's 90. So we're at about 490 if you're keeping track with me. And then a marketing ops person, about 90,000 plus benefits, 110,000. So we're at 600,000 in first year cost. And that's before reoccurring cost, onboarding time, in the 3 to 6 month ramp period. And again, I would also mention this before hiring anybody to manage these folks. Group research shows that it takes an average of 5.2 months for a new SDR to reach full productivity. For inside sales rep, it's 4.8 months. So you're paying full salaries while getting partial results for half a year. And again, folks that are really just experimenting with your budget. But here's what founders don't calculate. And I gave you a little bit of a hint to that before. Recruiting cost, 15 to 20% of first year salary per hire. Management overhead, like I said before, who's going to manage these 6 to 8 people? Number three, tool stack expansion. So each role needs different software, they have different likes. And then coordination complexity, more people, more meetings, more alignment issues. So you're not just hiring people, you're building infrastructure to support people with it. So you can see how you can get to that $1 million figure very, very quickly. So, what is the alternative? So it's not all bad news. We do have an alternative. Um, I worked recently with a health tech founder who was planning exactly this approach. Instead, we used AI strategically to build the foundation first. And when I say we used AI strategically, lots of tools out there, lots of market overflow. And we will offer at the end of this call some opportunity to get some clarity on that and to book a call with us to talk about that. But here's what we did with this founder. In 3 weeks, we used ChatGPT to help refine his ideal customer profile based on existing customer data and market research he had done before. A lot of clients that I talk to come to me with a lot of this data, and they've done a lot of work. They may have hired firms to do that, but there's no clarity on it, right? And again, demographics does not equal an ICP. We'll talk some more about that next week. So we got some really cool stuff we're going to talk to you about in September. But I always think of, if you've got demographics, it's really just a phone book. And for those of you under the age of 40, I apologize for that. You probably don't even know what a phone book is. And that's good because phone books were kind of a pain in the butt. But really, with demographics, all you have is just kind of a snapshot of what people are. But when I talk about ICP, it's really digging in and having a conversation with something like a chat GPT and talking about um, how do they think? What are their problems and challenges? Um, what kind of conferences and things they go to. So you can really get specific on that ICP. And then with chat. And then second, we use Perplexity and Notebook LM to provide comprehensive competitive research. So I want to put a note here. I was meeting with the founder just last evening. I mean, he made a really good point. He said, well, I'm kind of greenfield. I don't really have a competitor. And I said, well, what are you selling against? And we determined that it's the status quo, which many times if you're a newer stage company, you don't have that, but it's the status quo, how they do it today, and then the pain associated with that. And so remember that as you use and do this research. And then finally, we use Claude and Crisp AI to analyze customer conversations to extract authentic voice and messaging. Super important to get that voice of the customer, how they talk about their problems and challenges, and how they approach it. So the result of this after these 3 weeks, clear go-to-market strategy, validated messaging, and initial sales conversations before hiring anyone. Um, so again, they saved a lot of money with this. So when he does hire, it'll be two strategic people executing a proven playbook, not six people trying to figure out what works and burning $1 million in hard to acquire capital. So 3 areas AI replaces headcount. And I know that's not going to be popular with people, but I think when we think about AI, it's not about um, AI replacing people. It's really making people more efficient. And for your company, unless you have unlimited resources, which if you do, great for you. But with limited resources, you've got to figure out how to maximize your headcount. So here's 3 areas. First, market research and competitive intelligence. Traditional approach, we hire a marketing manager at 120K to figure out our market positioning. AI approach, use Perplexity to analyze competitors, Claude to synthesize findings, ChatGPT to identify positioning gaps. Time savings, again, when it takes a human 2 to 3, maybe even 4 to 6 months, takes AI 2 to 3 days. Cost savings, 30,000 versus 30K, or 30K versus $30 in AI credits. So had a fintech client use this exact approach. We analyzed 47 competitors, identified 3 positioning gaps, and then developed messaging frameworks in 1 week. Their marketing manager hire then became a strategic executor, not just a research assistant. Area 2, content creation and customer voice development. Traditional approach, hire a content creator at 70,000 and just hope that they understand your customers. AI approach, use Crisp or something like it to transcribe sales calls, Claude to analyze patterns, then generate content frameworks that sound like your actual customers. By the way, everything that we're talking about here today, we use internally. And that is really our focus is we try things internally before we try them with our customers. So these are methods that we use and that we're very familiar with. In this instance, uh, content based on real customer language and not guesswork. Um, an industry stat that I thought was interesting, the Content Marketing Institute found that 70% of B2B marketers struggle with creating content that resonates. The reason they're creating content based on assumptions, not customer voice. And I see it weekly. People that are generating really nice looking content, but it does not resonate with the problems and challenges that they solve for their ideal customer. Area 3, process automation and data analysis. Traditional approach, hire a marketing ops person at 90K to build dashboards and manage data. AI approach, use AI, and again, choose your tool for data analysis, pattern recognition, and automated reporting. The human focuses then on strategy and optimization, which is really where they should be focusing. Efficiency gain, what takes a human hours or days or months, takes AI a couple of minutes. So let's talk about the foundation that AI can't replace, and that is the strategic. The strategy and the strategic decisions humans must make. Number one, ICP definition. So AI can analyze customer data, identity patterns. It can't decide which patterns matter most for your business strategy. So it can give you the data, but you have to decide what matters the most. So, for instance, AI might identify that you have customers in healthcare, fintech, and retail. But you, the human, need to decide, do we focus on one vertical or serve all 3? That's strategic judgment. And again, something that you should absolutely pay for. Number 2, value proposition validation. So AI can generate 100 different value propositions. If you've used something like chat and you're trying to write maybe a slogan or something like that, it can be a never ending loop. I always laugh when I use chat and say, hey, am I missing anything? There's always something that they add. And I was working just simply on actually on one of the lyrics for the song that you heard there at the beginning. And I got like 50 different variations, which is not what I needed. So it can definitely create a huge number, a huge amount of data in the sense it's value propositions, but it can't tell you which one makes the CFO reach for their wallet, which obviously is the most critical. That requires human testing, human conversations, human judgment about what's resonating in your actual sales conversations. I was working with an insurtech founder who had AI generate these, I think it was like 56 different value propositions. Super impressive, right? But none of them worked in actual sales calls. So what we had to do is get on calls with real prospects, test messaging in real conversations, and really iterate based on those human reactions. AI gave us the raw material, human judgment refined it into something that actually converted. And then number three, process design that actually qualifies. So AI can automate your sales sequences. It can't design qualification frameworks that actually qualify. So what makes a lead qualified? What questions separate tire kickers from real buyers? What criteria predict actual deal closure? Those insights come from human sales experience, not AI analysis. I think this quote sums it up. Peter Drucker said, efficiency is doing things right. Effectiveness is doing the right things. AI makes you efficient. Human strategy makes you effective. So, as we always like to do, we want to give you something practical to close out today's session. So, this is a three-step process. We call it the smart scaling sequence. Number one, build a go-to-market strategy. So, start with the foundation. And like I said, month of September is going to be focused on building foundation. So, stay tuned into us. Going to have a lot of resources for you there to work on that. But that foundation is clear ICP based on data, not assumptions, a value proposition that converts in real conversations, and processes that actually qualify and close. Boy, I am not talking well this morning. I'm glad I don't have a lot of meetings today because I don't know that I would be super um, intelligent in the way I'm approaching it. But back to the GTM strategy. Again, that's your foundation. So you got to build the GTM strategy first. Second, deploy AI as a force multiplier. So once you know what works, let AI scale it. Research prospects at machine speed. Generate personalized content at scale. Automate follow-up sequences. Analyze conversation patterns for insights. So those are all things you can do as a force multiplier when you deploy. And then finally, hire strategically. When you do hire, hire for execution of proven strategy. Again, I cannot stress that enough. I have seen so many companies that have run through, I said 500,000 to a million. There are some, and I've got an example in my career that they spent a couple hundred million on hiring. Of course, they got $1 billion in capital, but don't hire for strategy, hire for execution of that. Great solution. Utilize somebody like Greater Gain Group or Grow Digital. But if it's not us, use somebody else and AI to help kind of put together that strategy. And again, this could look like this: one strategic rev ops, one inside sales, and then AI handles what would normally require an additional 3 to 5 additional people. One thing I'll mention to you as I'm thinking about this is um, I would really look at whether you need SDRs, BDRs, AEs. That's kind of been the traditional thing. And I know SDRs and BDRs, you're not going to be happy with me saying this, but I think the future is rolling those up into one individual and then using AI to do a lot of that work around it. So definitely would think about that. Would definitely love your comments on it. Don't throw too much hate at me, SDRs or BDRs, but I think it is something that you really need to think about in making them efficient, especially if you're going to spend your capital efficiently. So with this sequence, better strategy, faster execution, dramatically lower burn rate, and your board will love the capital efficiency. So top quartile SaaS companies have sales efficiency ratios 40% better than median performers. Difference isn't headcount, it's strategy amplified by the right tools. So, in wrapping up, 3 takeaways. Number one, strategy first, AI second, strategic hiring third. Number two, use AI for the work, humans for the decisions. And number three, capital efficiency comes from alignment, not just automation. So, with that, if you're planning a big go to market hiring spree, book an AI GTM strategy call with us first. I'd rather help you build the strategic foundation that helps make those hires successful than watch you burn runway on expensive hires. You can book that here, and we will also put this in the links below, and hope to get to talk to you sometime soon. Before we wrap up and ask for any questions, what's the biggest go-to-market hiring decision you're facing right now? Drop it in the comments. We'll come back and discuss it and discuss how to approach it. Want to encourage you to join us next week as we kick off September, where we will talk about the foundations that you need to build your go-to-market. Whether you're entering that market for a first time, pivoting, or resetting, we're going to spend September helping you build the foundation for success in 2026 and beyond. And as always, we appreciate you joining us. Here's the way to get in touch with me. Would love to hear from you, hear your comments. Would love for you to, and totally forgot this, but we do have a guide this week that as we always do, on your GTM, AI GTM readiness. So it's an audit that you can do internally. We're also glad to do that on a call with you. But if you would like to get that audit, drop some comments below and request it, and we'll make sure that you get that. And with that, I will thank you for joining us today or whenever you're watching this, and look forward to talking to you again soon. Have a great rest of your week.